Hello and welcome to this edition of Bite-Sized Performance Psychology. What we're going to look at today is about getting ourselves in that performance zone before we go out to compete in whatever we take part in. Now, a lot of performers will have kind of like pre-performance routines and things like that, and obviously there's a lot of emphasis on physical preparation pre-performance, but we're going to look at how do you actually get your mind ready and how do you get in the zone, to use that phrase that athletes and coaches and we all use quite a lot. So we're going to look at what exactly that is, or an aspect of it, and we're going to look at some strategies that will help you achieve that, because we know that if we can take control of getting ourselves ready and getting ourselves in the zone, then that will put us in a better frame of mind and a better place to be able to perform to the top end of our potential. So what I want you to do is to just bear in mind throughout this video that when I use a term like pre-performance routine, we are looking at pre-performance and how we get ourselves ready, but also we can use shorter versions of these strategies during performance. So when there are suitable breaks in performance, we can go through this process again, and almost like a mini version of it, so we become more aware of what our zone is and how our zone works. So what do we mean by performance zone or getting yourself in the zone? Well, I tend to look at it for these two extremes. So at one end we have like a Tasmanian devil. That's when we're really massively psyched up, and very few times will performers want to be at that very psyched up stage, because there are lots of reasons why that might impinge on our performance. At the other end of the scale, we've got when we're almost so under aroused that we're asleep. And again, this is not an ideal performance state generally. Now, the nuances of where your performance zone lie will depend on you as an individual and what your personal preferences are, and might also depend on the nature of the type of sport that you participate in. So it might be that you might need to be slightly more psyched up or slightly more under aroused, depending on the type of sport you play. So this is something that I've done with athletes, to get athletes to understand where their zone is and to look at some simple strategies that will get them used to performing in their zone and getting ready. So as you can see here, I kind of use a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 is where you're so relaxed you're virtually asleep, and 100 is it's almost like you're in a frenzy or you're very manic, and that's why I use the image of the Tasmanian devil. Now, everyone will have kind of a zone which they think is their performance zone. Now, I've put on the figures 0, 25, 50, 75 and 100, but your zone could be anything. It could be 20 to 35, it could be 50 to 65. So those are just kind of show you markers of the scale, but you can certainly have a band which you aim to get yourself into with regards to how psyched up you feel. That will be your performance zone, and your preparation should focus on getting you in this zone. Now, one of the things that we're going to look at is, well, what do we do if we are below where our performance zone is? And so how do we take control and get ourselves into our performance zone, get ourselves more psyched up? So things like that athletes will generally use and what are good are things like high tempo music. So, you know, pre-selecting some music on your iPod or whatever sort of equipment you have for listening to your music on, and have a selection of 2 or 3 songs that will help you with this. Think about what sort of imagery you can have, and imagery can be very powerful, so come up with some really energizing sorts of images that you can use that are related to your performance. Self-talk is another key strategy. So think of really powerful, energizing words that mean a lot to you, that you can use, that will act as triggers to try and increase your arousal or psyched upness and get you into that zone. Become more aware of who are the energizers in your team, who are the ones who have loads of energy, who are the people who are very lively and very upbeat at these times. Go and sit with those. the way in which they work and their energy will pass on to you. So use your energy to help you if you feel as though you need to get more psyched up before you go out. Now, quite often it's not a case that you have to get more psyched up to get yourself in the zone, but quite often athletes have to kind of relax and slow themselves down because they might be too psyched up already. So again, you can use music, this time slow tempo music. Again, on your iPad, have two little playlists, one with high tempo music, one with the slow music, and you can use whichever one. And if you need to kind of slow yourself down, then use the slow tempo music. Use relaxing imagery, so images of things that will make you feel relaxed, and again slow yourself down and make you feel calm. Deep breathing is a really good way of lowering your arousal and getting you in control of your kind of physiology and getting you in that zone before you're going out to compete. Look at all sorts of different relaxation techniques, muscular relaxation, meditation, all things like that can be adapted and allow you to bring down your physiological responses so you can get yourself into that zone if you are finding yourself too psyched up. Relaxing self-talk, so again the same sort of technique as before, but this time thinking of words which will calm you down and will get you to focus on being more relaxed, more in control. Surround yourself with people who are relaxing and are quite laid back, because again their relaxedness, their kind of comfortableness with being relaxed, that will rub off on you if you're around those sorts of people. So think about who you surround yourself with if you need to relax and calm yourself down to help you get in the zone before you compete. Now, what you need to remember is that if you find yourself not in your zone, then you need to be proactive and take control of getting yourself in your zone. And being proactive and taking control are two real key things. So it doesn't matter whether you need to psych yourself up or you need to psych yourself down. Whatever you do, you've got some strategies here that can help you with that. And the other thing is to make sure that you take personal responsibility. There's only you who's responsible for how you feel before you go out to compete. So make it your mission and make it your kind of goal to make sure that you get into your specific little target zone where you want to be to give you the best chance of performing. So that's a brief kind of introduction to identifying where your performance zone is and some little strategies that you can use if you need to kind of calm down or psych yourself up to make sure you get in those zones.